All right, what's up, everybody? Hope you are all enjoying your Tuesday. It's a beautiful day here in Miami. Finally, after like what felt like months of rain, pretty much every day, um, the sun's out, and it will be out for the next week, so that's nice. Um, anyway, like I said, hope you guys are having a good week so far. Wanted to come on here and kind of do final thoughts on camp. I know there's technically still a couple days of fall camp left. I know the boys started classes yesterday. Um, so just wanted to come on here and kind of give, my positives and negatives of what I saw throughout camp, what I heard throughout camp, what I was expecting going in and what came true and what didn't. Feel free to throw in the comments what you guys thought as well. What surprised you? What was a pleasant surprise? What was a negative that you weren't expecting? Um, I know I have a couple in my mind, but more positives than negatives for sure. Absolutely. Please, if you're coming on, there's a few of you coming into the chat now, please hit that like button, the subscribe button, and also, if you have a quick second, or if you want to do it after you watch this, go on to Spotify. Please follow Cafecito and Canes on Spotify. I drop the audio version of these videos right after I do them, pretty much within a day usually. So if you want to hear the audio version, maybe you're on your ride to work, or maybe you're at work, you don't want to get in trouble for watching your phone. Hey, throw those headphones on, you can listen to me instead of watching. So please make sure and do that if you can. So here were my thoughts going into fall camp. First off, and this is the obvious one, I wanted no injuries. Please let there be as little injuries as possible. And for once, this usually we get kind of nicked up. Usually there's like one or two kind of, oof, that one hurt, but we're still kind of okay. Usually there's like one or two significant ones. Like last year, there was a lot, but specifically like Travonte Citizen, for example. I feel like usually there's like one. So far, so good. The health of the team is pretty solid. You still got a couple guys banged up. Chase Smith's making his way back. Zion Nelson. Hopefully we see him this year at some point. Offensive line, knock on wood, I'm literally knocking on my coffee table, that they remain healthy throughout the season. A big part of that is us blowing out opponents that we should be blowing out. Miami of Ohio, we need to put them away early so that the starters are not out there for the entire game. By the time the fourth quarter rolls around, I better not see any starters out there. It needs to be that dominant, that quick. That way the starters get off the field. There's going to be like 3 or 4 games like that at least where we have the opportunity to do that. Virginia, BC, teams like Bethune-Cookman, obviously, that's an obvious one. The starters won't play past the first half, I'm sure. Some might even sit, because it's right after the A&M game, and it's a short week. So, so health of the team, we're in good shape right now. I'm happy about that. Some pleasant surprises. KJ Cloyd is one that comes to mind. KJ Cloyd was a linebacker that we got out of the transfer portal from Louisville. One of Coach D. Nicholson's guys that he coached over there, so he knows him well. I believe he's a senior or a junior. He's got a few years under his belt already. He's had kind of an injury-riddled career, but he comes over, you look at him, 6'2", 230, and can fly. The dude is jacked. He looks like a D1 potential first-round pick linebacker physically, just looking at his physique. He may end up starting, and it's not because West Saint is not performing well in camp. He's performing pretty well as well. The competition between those two is fierce, and they're pushing each other to be better. So that's good to hear. Aside from that, Francisco Maligoa, we know he's going to be the starting Mike. Some of the freshmen, Damari Brown, I'm hearing he's getting a lot of opportunities with the ones, and there's a chance he may even start. I see him starting at some point this season, but it might be even earlier than I thought. So that's a nice surprise. And again, you brought in a lot of portal guys, Jadis Richard, Jaden Davis, guys that have experience. And for Damari Brown to come in and just essentially outperform or perform just as well as all of them has been a nice, pleasant surprise to see it so quickly, so early. I'm not totally surprised. He's coming from a DB factory in American Heritage, but it's nice. I didn't expect it to see it so early. The offensive line is starting to gel. The running game is looking strong. This was not a surprise. A.J. Allen looking like one of the best running backs in the room, second only to maybe Mark Fletcher, who's the freshman. Another pleasant surprise, I did not expect to see him step on the field and start making big plays so early. So that was nice to see. TBD, solid from what I'm hearing. Looks healthy. Arm strength is there. He looks comfortable in the offense. Trying to get his timing down with the receivers on deep balls especially. There's a few new faces in there, so, that's kind of expected. I'd be more worried if the running game was still trying to gel. If the passing game was there, but the running game was just all sorts of, discombobulated. But it's not. They seem to have some fluidity there. No question. Having Matt Lee at center is huge for that. And then I was very worried about the lack of depth. I'm still worried about the lack of depth on the interior of the O-line. Not at tackle, because we got like 4 guys at tackle that can play. Jalen Rivers right now, from what I've been hearing and from I think D Money reported this on his show, that Jalen Rivers has taken snaps at backup center, to try to cross train him, and he's able to play all 5 positions. He's very smart. He's a senior, or in his 4th year. I don't know if he's technically a senior, with the whole COVID year, extra year, and all that stuff. But I feel a lot better with the idea of Jalen Rivers taking snaps at center in an emergency spot rather than Lou Cristobal. No offense to him, but I'm sorry, it's a big drop off from Matt Lee to Lou. So, Logan Sagapolo looks like he's going to be playing more of a guard position. So you need a center you can rely on if that situation arises. Hopefully it doesn't arise. Let's keep everybody healthy. Again, the teams that you're supposed to blow out, blow them out. Get your starters some rest, especially early in the season. That's very important. All right. So what more positives? I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers it as far as things that stood out to me. One more thing, just the linebacker room in general. So many young guys: Marcellus Pulliam, Popo, Malik Bryant. They're already stepping in and looking, comfortable. As comfortable as a freshman can look, but impressive athleticism, impressive speed, which we've been missing at that position for a long time. I've been saying that all offseason. We needed to improve the athleticism and speed and power of that position group specifically. And now for the negatives. Biggest one probably for most people is Jakari Brown is not progressing passing wise as many would have liked. I don't think, hit that button by accident, sorry. Yeah, obviously he's more of a running quarterback. He's more of a playmaker rather than a pocket passer. I am waiting to see what he does in an actual game where he can actually show what he can do. Because a scrimmage where they're playing touch football essentially with the quarterbacks, he can't show that. He has to stay in the pocket and throw that. That's really not him. He's a playmaker. So he's still developing that. I forgot to mention pleasant surprises, Emory Williams. Although it's not really too much of a surprise, Emory Williams already starting to look very comfortable as a true freshman. Doesn't shock me, honestly. I thought some people are saying he was going to need a few years. I think maybe 1 year under his belt as a backup, learning the offense, getting bigger and stronger. He already came in pretty, with pretty good size to begin with, which was nice. But I think 1 solid year under his belt, learning the offense, learning the college game, getting used to college life. By next season, his sophomore year or redshirt freshman year, whatever he decides to do with this season, probably going to be a sophomore year. I don't know if he's going to redshirt because we're not super deep at quarterback. So I could see him legitimately battling for that starting spot as starting next year. Yep, big weekend recruiting wise. That is true. Of course, he's talking about Zaquan Patterson. Zaquan Patterson and David Stone, I think, are announcing this weekend. So here's hoping. We're sitting good at number 15 right now with our recruiting class, but we need to add some beef inside as far as defensive tackle. So definitely I'll land somebody there, hoping it's David Stone. Not holding out a ton of hope for that one, but let's see what happens, and, hopefully they have a plan B if that doesn't happen. Zaquan Patterson, it's been looking, like a Miami lean forever. I've been hearing, of course, the week leading up, you hear different rumors. Let's see what happens with Zaquan. I would love to land him. The guy's a stud. So not to get too off track. So yeah, Jakari, I was hoping to him be more far along in the passing game, but he's still got time to develop. So, we'll see. As far as, let's see what else. Lack of defensive tackle depth. Well, I was pleasantly surprised to see some guys on the D line like Jaden Wayne. Not too surprised there because I know how talented he is. He's starting to come along. Anthony Campbell starting to show some things. It's mostly against the twos, so maybe take it with a grain of salt, but he's a big dude, 6'7", 290 or whatever he is. If we can get any kind of production from him, that's a plus. Joshua Horton, that's a plus. So I went into camp thinking, okay, we're really thin at D tackle. And maybe we still are because that's unproven still. I'm just going off of camp. But maybe we got a couple more productive bodies there than I thought. Let's see what else. And Ruben Bain could be, playing a little bit inside, but he's going to be more coming off the edge, I think, maybe on some stunts and some NASCAR packages, things like that. You're going to see Ruben Bain, I think, a lot on third down. Let's see what else comes to mind. The drops were still kind of a thing, not as much as before. I feel like the starters, like the X's and the Kobe's and guys like that are going to be getting the most snaps. I feel like it's not so much a problem with them, maybe more everybody else. Running backs out of the backfield, I know that's a tougher thing for them. Mark Fletcher had no issues catching the ball out of the backfield. I don't think I saw him drop one or heard of him dropping one. Apparently, he's already got the receiving game down. But, I saw a couple drops in halfback screens in the scrimmage that I went to. So that was the one that was open to the public. I didn't go to the closed one, obviously. But, tighten that up. I know drops are a part of football. They're going to happen. But we need to minimize that as much as possible because they hurt, especially like on third down or on a screen where he had nothing but green grass in front of him and he drops it. That's frustrating. So got to clean that up as much as possible. Emory will beat out Brown. Emory will pass him. I think he might. I think you guys are right. Emory, he's got kind of that. A lot of people compare him to Ken Dorsey. Ken Dorsey early on, it was kind of similar. I remember, I was a kid, but old enough to remember that, there was a little hype with him building up when he was a freshman in camp and practice. You started to already see that, and he was skinny. Like Emory's not as skinny as Dorsey was. I realize this is like 20 plus years ago, but still. What do you think about the 24 O-line potentially being Sampson, Kinsler, McCoy, Cooper, and Francis? Let me tell you, we're going to have some maulers on the O-line. I cannot wait to see what the trenches look like next year, especially on offense. Defense, we're going to be elite sick at defensive end. Jaden Wayne, Ruben Bain, Artavius Jones is D tackle. Who else? Nigel Kelly will be a junior. The two Lightfoot will be coming in. Rudolph will be coming in. Collins, maybe he'll be a little further along. But D tackle, I'm a little concerned for next year. We're probably going to really have to go into the portal for next year. That might be plan B if we don't land like a Stone or anybody like that. If we go 8-4 or 9-3, top 5 class, don't care who verbally commit. I think you go 8-4, 9-3, definitely you're going to fall into the top 10. You're going to flip a couple of guys, and we're going to finish strong here. You got a couple of positions you got to address, mainly safety and D tackle, of course, because you got a potential first rounder at each position a junior right now that could leave early. So you gotta add to the class. But right now where we're at, I feel okay. Not amazing, but I feel okay. I definitely not landing. Kamari and Franklin hurts. I really thought we had a shot there up until like the week before. Then the writing was kind of on the wall. But gotta beef up the trenches in the front on defense. I think Anthony Campbell, Chiapong, Josh Horton can be good, but we must add on to them. Yeah, and add Artavius Jones to that. I think we really found a gem in Artavius Jones. I really like him a lot. Have you heard much on Gore or Stafford? I'm hearing good things about Stafford. Thomas Gore, I haven't heard a ton. That doesn't mean he's not playing well. I just haven't heard a lot about him. Dorsey was super intelligent. Yeah, he was. He was basically a coach on the field. Absolutely love hearing about Anthony Campbell. I think him and Chiapong could be crucial next year. Yeah, because that's true, because Collins could end up playing D tackle because he's so big. Yeah, no, there's a couple position changes, maybe dipping into the portal. There's a way that you can patch up the D tackle position next year that it's not, you're not in dire straits. But let's take Jared Harrison Hunt. I haven't heard a ton about Jared Harrison Hunt. Again, same with Gore. That doesn't mean he's playing bad necessarily. I just haven't heard much. I haven't heard his name much. So I don't know how much he's going to factor into the depth chart. But anyways, guys, that's pretty much my my kind of recap on fall camp. Special teams. I think we're going to be solid on special teams, kicking, punting. On the coverage unit, we got some dogs. We got some speed flying down that field. We're going to have some freshmen. Robert Stafford, good example of somebody who's fast and who's hungry and is going to go down there and just boom some people. So I'm looking forward to seeing the special teams. Honestly, I am one of those nerds. I think Borigalis is going to prove me right in that he is an All-American caliber kicker in the making, and that should be a good situation. I think we're going to be fine at punter for the most part. Last question: how is Citizen? I'm not. Oh, that's right. Hang on, I'll go back to you in a second, Wes. John, don't forget about the D tackle from Columbus. Are you talking about Dalton Russell? Because he did kind of slip my mind. You're right. Very under the radar guy. Very late bloomer. Listed at like 230 something on 247. That dude is. I'm hearing he's closer to 260 something. He could be one of those rare, like really late bloomers that like, what did you eat during the summer, kid? Like, that's insane. Like, how'd you get so big? So, and he's like a mini, not nearly, I don't think he's the caliber player of Ruben Bain, but his style of play is like a mini Ruben Bain kind of. Short, kind of stocky, thick lower half, but he can get after the quarterback. He has the full toolkit, at his disposal. They'll work with that. I think one thing that these D-line coaches are doing, I think guys are coming along. Guys are developing. So I'm excited about that. But back to you on Citizen. We may see him this year. I'm hoping. And he's come along, had a couple setbacks during the offseason. He had a catastrophic injury. So even if he did come back, he wasn't going to be 100% back to what he was. It could take a year. You could see him play this year, but it could take a year to get him back to like real Travonte Citizen, like what we were going to see last year. But anyways, guys, I could sit here and talk forever, but yeah, that's kind of my final recap. So please hit that like button, the subscribe button, follow me on Spotify as well. As always, go Canes. Have a good night.